The skies over Kaurin 3, a small human colony world, burned orange. Alien warships floated above the cities like shadows. The streets were silent. No birds, no machines, just the heavy sound of boots hitting the ground. The Zereth Empire had arrived. They didn't knock. They didn't speak. They simply attacked. Families were pulled from their homes. Parents were chained. Children cried. The Empire's soldiers laughed. General Threx Varuan, tall and cold-blooded, walked through the broken colony square. He looked at the captured humans lined up like cattle. "You're all so weak," he said, smiling. "Why does the galaxy fear you?" A small old woman, sitting on the ground with a bruised face, looked up at him. "You made a mistake," she whispered. Threx raised an eyebrow. "What did you say?" "You broke the rule," she said quietly, her voice trembling. "You took a child." Threx chuckled. "We took many children. What of it?" The woman didn't answer. She only looked at the sky. Then she whispered something else. "She will come now." Threx laughed. "She." The ground shook. A young Zereth soldier ran up to the general, panting. "Sir, we have a situation. One of the children we captured, he said something strange." "What?" Threx asked. "He said, 'She's coming for you now.'" Threx blinked. "Who is she?" "We don't know, but he sounded sure." Just then, alarms rang through the Empire's warships. One of the orbiting dreadnoughts sent a report. Unidentified ship detected. Approaching fast. No known signature. No ID. Not responding to hails. Threx looked up. A black dot had appeared in the sky. It wasn't big. It wasn't loud. But it was coming. Far above the colony, in the cold dark of space, a single black ship moved silently. It didn't look like a warship. It had no flags, no lights. But every system it passed started to glitch. Empire sensors couldn't scan it. I failed to identify it. Every time they tried to lock weapons on it, the systems refused. Back on the surface, the humans were being loaded into prisoner trucks. But one child, a boy no older than 7, was still standing on the ground, staring up at the black dot. "Is she close now?" he asked softly. The soldier guarding him kicked the dirt. "Who?" "Your mommy." The boy turned, slowly. "Not my mommy," he said. "The reclaimer." Inside the command center, panic was growing. "Sir," a technician yelled. "The ship just bypassed our orbital security. It's ignoring all commands." "Then shoot it," Threx ordered. But the weapon officer shook his head. "We can't. The turrets, they won't respond." Just then, the screens all blinked. Every single display across the base turned black. Then a single word appeared on all of them. "Return the child." Silence. No one spoke. Threx's face turned pale. "Who sent this?" The technician tried to answer, but his voice shook. "The signal. It's coming from the ship, but it's using old human code. Pre-Empire. Thousands of years old." Another message came through. "Final warning." That night, the prisoners were still in chains. The child sat alone in a locked room. He stared at the stars through a small window. Behind him, guards whispered. "I don't get it," one said. "Why send one ship? What can it do?" The boy turned and smiled. "You'll see." Above, the black ship stopped moving. It hovered just outside the upper atmosphere. Then all at once, every ship in the Zereth fleet lost power. Engines died. Weapons failed. Lights went dark. From the sky, one small light began to fall, slow and quiet, like a falling star. General Threx watched it from the command post. His heart thudded in his chest. "What is that?" he whispered. The old woman's voice echoed in his mind. "You broke the rule." The child's voice came next. "She's coming for you now." And the screen showed a final message. Too late. The Zareth command center was in chaos. Red lights flashed across the ceiling. Alarms screamed. Officers shouted over one another, trying to explain the unexplainable. General Threx Varuan stood in the center of it all, staring at the single black ship floating above the planet. It hadn't moved. It hadn't fired. But still, something about it felt wrong. "Is it still just one ship?" he asked. "Yes, sir," the lead technician replied, his voice shaky. "It's just sitting there, like it's watching." Threx clenched his jaw. "Send another warning. Tell it to identify itself or be destroyed." The technician hesitated. "Do it." He obeyed, typing quickly. A message was sent. "This is Zareth Empire space. Identify yourself or face elimination." A long pause. Then the reply came. "This is your second mistake." Suddenly, the command room went dark. All power died. Screens blinked out. The air was thick with static. Then every speaker, on every ship, on every base, began playing the same signal. A woman's voice, slow and calm. "Return the child, or burn." The message looped again and again. No matter what channel they switched to, no matter how hard they tried to block it, it wouldn't stop. "Cut it off," Threx barked. "We can't," the officer shouted. "Sir, the signal isn't just radio. It's in our networks, our satellites, even our backup systems." A junior officer turned pale. "Sir, this voice, it's using an old galactic warning code, one we haven't seen since the Verni extinction." Threx frowned. "That was over 9,000 years ago." The officer nodded, and that species disappeared overnight. Meanwhile, on the prison deck, the human child sat calmly on the floor. His eyes were closed. Around him, the guards were in full panic. "What is that voice? Who is she?" The child opened his eyes and said softly, "She is the Reclaimer." One of the guards shouted, "Who is the Reclaimer? What does she want?" The boy looked at him and replied, "She wants me back. You shouldn't have taken me." The guard pointed his weapon at the boy. "Stop talking like that." But the child didn't flinch. "She gave you a chance. You ignored her. Now you'll see." In orbit, the Empire's warships scrambled to respond. Thousands of them. Formations of destroyers, carriers, and dreadnoughts. "We have numbers," Threx told his second-in-command. "I don't care what legends they speak of. One ship cannot fight us all." His officer nodded. "Should we fire first?" Threx smiled coldly. "Yes. Crush it." A moment later, the command was given. 3 dreadnoughts locked weapons. Their plasma cannons charged, glowing blue with energy. Firing in 3, 2, 1. Bright beams of destruction shot out through space and hit the black ship. The black ship didn't move. The blasts hit and disappeared. No explosion. No damage. The dreadnoughts went silent. Then, one by one, their engines failed. Their lights dimmed. Their hulls cracked open like paper. No fire, no scream. Just gone. 3 dreadnoughts. Erased. Threx stared at the screen. What just happened?" The technician whispered. "It erased the ships, without firing a single shot." Threx turned pale. Back on Cowran 3, screens blinked back to life. But now, every screen showed the same thing. A face. A human face. Female. Pale eyes. Armor like obsidian. No emotion. She spoke. "You were warned. You ignored the signal. You broke the rule." Then her eyes seemed to look directly at Threx. "There is only one rule for humans. Never take what we protect." The screen went black. In the command room, no one spoke. Then, an old Zareth historian stepped forward. He was gray-skinned and wore ceremonial robes. No one had seen him in years. He spoke slowly. "She is not new. She is not a myth. The Reclaimer is real. Long ago, humanity created her as a final defense. Threx scoffed. A machine. The historian shook his head. No, a soul placed inside armor. A being who only awakens when the one sacred rule is broken. What rule? Threx asked, though he already knew the answer. Do not take a human child, or the one they love. Threx sat down heavily. His voice was low. And we've taken both. That night, across Zareth space, more messages began playing. Return the child. Final warning. But the Empire didn't listen. And the black ship began to move. The black ship moved, slowly, silently, toward Zareth space. Inside their war command station, General Threx Varuan watched it with growing dread. It was just one ship. Still, cold, quiet. But his hands trembled. Send fighters, he said finally. Test its defense systems. No heavy weapons, just speed runs. Within minutes, 20 fast attack craft launched from orbit. They moved in smooth formation, fast as lightning. Pilots checked in, laughing over the comms. She doesn't move. Easy target. Let's make her dance. But then, she spoke. Across every ship, every helmet, every ear. This is your final warning. One pilot grinned. Yeah, and what if we all listen? The black ship didn't fire. But in an instant, every fighter stopped mid-flight. Frozen. Not disabled. Frozen. Engines still on. Wings locked. No movement. Then, like dust in a wind, they began to dissolve, from the inside out. First the ships, then the pilots. No screams. No fire. Just nothing. Inside the Zareth command room, silence. Sir, we've lost them, an officer said. All of them. No trace. Threx clenched his jaw. We're under attack. Call in the Armada. The officer hesitated. Sir, even the Armada may not be enough. Threx snapped. Then we'll burn every star before we let one human machine threaten our rule. Meanwhile, on the prison deck, the human child remained calm. Guards refused to go near him now. He wasn't tied down. He wasn't locked up. But nobody dared approach. The boy looked up, eyes glowing faintly. She's here, he said quietly. One officer, too nervous to stay silent, asked, What is she? Some weapon? The boy shook his head. She's not a weapon. She's a promise. The officer frowned. A promise. She promised no one would ever hurt me again, the boy said. He smiled softly. And she never breaks her promise. In deep space, the black ship came to a stop outside the Empire's central relay station. This was the heart of their communication network, protected by 1,000 ships. But nothing moved. All systems stopped. No signals in or out. Then, for the first time, the ship opened a channel. Not just audio. Visual. Across the galaxy, anyone with a screen saw her. The Reclaimer. Tall. Black armor. Human eyes. No mercy. She didn't shout. She didn't threaten. She simply spoke. You broke the one rule. You took a child who is not yours. Return him, or fall. Behind her, a projection of the human boy appeared, calm, glowing, unharmed. The message ended. In the throne chamber of the Zareth Emperor, Lord Vakal watched the broadcast. He stood slowly, voice cold. This machine dares threaten the throne. His council trembled. Destroy the prison. Kill the boy. End the threat. But a scientist beside him protested. No, killing the boy will not end it. It will awaken her fully. She is not acting in rage yet. She is warning us. Then silence her, the Emperor growled. The scientist whispered, You don't understand. This isn't war. This is judgment. In orbit above Kaurin 3, the Zareth High Fleet prepared for war. 10,000 ships. Every weapon ready. The black ship hovered alone. Then she moved. One blink. One moment. and a third of the fleet vanished. No debris, no explosion, just gone, as if they had never existed. The rest of the fleet began to retreat, afraid. Some ships fired in panic. It didn't matter. Nothing touched her. She didn't dodge. She didn't shield. She absorbed everything. One officer cried over the comms, "We're fighting a ghost." No one answered him, because no one else was left. On the ground, sirens blared. People fled cities. Zereth citizens panicked. Civilians screamed. Mothers clutched their children. The Empire's greatest weapon, the planet shard cannon, was prepared. One shot could tear a moon in half. They aimed it at the black ship and fired. The beam hit and bounced back. The entire station exploded from its own shot, ripped apart in seconds. Now, across the Zereth Empire, everyone realized this was not a war. This was punishment. Back in his cell, the boy sat alone. He whispered something under his breath. The wall camera zoomed in. He was singing a soft earth lullaby. As he did, the lights in the prison flickered. The air changed, and one by one, guards started crying. Not from fear, from guilt. Something in the boy's voice made them remember things they didn't want to. Their own children, their own families, and the horror they'd brought upon themselves. One fell to his knees. Another threw down his weapon. The boy looked up and said gently, "She's not here to kill you. She's here to show you what you are." But the Emperor didn't listen. And so the black ship turned toward the throne world, toward the Empire's heart, to end what they started. The skies above Zereth Prime turned dark, not from clouds or smoke, but from her shadow. The Reclaimer had arrived. The black ship hovered above the throne world, silent and unmoving, as if it were a judgment passed from the stars themselves. No fleet stood in her way now. No brave defenders. No heroes. Only fear. Inside the palace, Emperor Vakal stood tall, wearing golden armor, sharp and gleaming. His eyes were wide, but his voice was hard. "I am the law. I am the Empire. She will kneel." Beside him, his council stood trembling. Most had already sent their families off-world. Some had tried to run. All knew the truth now. This was the end. The Reclaimer sent one final message. "Release the boy. Make your peace. This is your last hour." But the Emperor did not answer. He turned to his guards. "Bring the child to the execution square. Let the machine watch him die." The guards hesitated. Then slowly, one by one, they refused. One dropped his weapon. Another took off his helmet and walked away. The Emperor screamed, "Cowards! Traitors! I will burn you all." But no one moved, because even monsters grow afraid when justice comes. In the prison, the boy stood alone. No chains, no guards, just silence. Then, doors opened. A woman stepped in. Her uniform was torn, her eyes red. She fell to one knee. I was ordered to hurt you. I didn't. But I didn't stop them either." The boy looked at her calm. "Do you want forgiveness?" She nodded. He smiled softly. "Then walk with me." Outside, the streets were empty. People hid behind locked doors. Zereth Prime had never known fear. Not like this. The boy and the woman walked through the city. No one stopped them. And above, the black ship waited, watching, measuring. In the palace, the Emperor activated the last failsafe. The planet core bomb. One trigger, one spark. Zereth Prime would burn, taking the ship with it. "If I fall," he hissed, "we all fall." But the Reclaimer knew. She always knew. Before he could press the button, the console turned to dust. His hand passed through it like smoke. Then, his throne room shook. Not from weapons, from memory. Walls melted into visions. He saw the cities he had burned, the colonies he had enslaved, the children taken, And the screams, so many screams. He fell to his knees, not from pain, from guilt. The reclaimer didn't need to fire a shot. She made monsters see the truth, and that truth broke them. The boy entered the throne chamber. Guards didn't block him. They dropped to the floor, covering their faces, crying. The emperor looked up, hands shaking. You're just a child." The boy said nothing. He placed his hand on the floor. Light spread across the palace, a soft, golden wave. And the reclaimer stepped through. Not a hologram, not a weapon, but a woman, black armor, burning eyes, quiet rage. She looked at the emperor. "I warned you," she said. "I gave you chances. You chose this." The emperor growled, rising to his feet. "You dare stand above me? I ruled 1,000 systems." She walked closer. "You never ruled anything," she said coldly. "You only stole." He raised his hand, his final weapon hidden in his ring. He pressed it. Nothing happened. The ring turned to ash. The reclaimer raised her hand, and with a soft whisper, the throne behind him shattered into dust. The emperor screamed. She said nothing, because he didn't deserve words. Zereth Prime changed that day. Not by war, not by bombs, but by truth. The empire was not destroyed by guns. It fell because its lies were torn away. Its people rose, not in hate, but in shame. The reclaimers stepped aside. Let them see what they had become. And that was enough. The boy looked up at her. "Is it over?" She knelt down. Almost. Above the planet, the black ship rose once more. Across the galaxy, Zereth banners fell. Worlds that once feared the Empire turned their backs. They now knew the truth. The one rule broken, and the one voice that could not be silenced. But deep in the shadows, others watched. Rivals, enemies. And they whispered, "Who is that child? What is that ship? What kind of humans make such monsters?" They didn't understand yet. This wasn't just about one child, or one ship. This was about what happened when you crossed the line with humanity. The black ship floated above the remnants of Zereth Prime, like a shadow cast over a broken world. On the bridge of the reclaimer, the boy stood quietly, staring out into the stars. He wasn't a child anymore. The journey had changed him. It had shaped him into something different, something more. Behind him, the woman who had walked with him, the one who had once been his guard, stood silently, hands clasped behind her back. Her voice broke the silence. "You've won, haven't you?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he reached up to touch the cold glass of the viewport. "The war is over, but that doesn't mean it's truly finished." She frowned. "What do you mean?" He turned to face her, eyes no longer innocent but full of understanding. "The Empire may be gone, but the truth is only beginning. The galaxy won't just forget. The ones who led the Empire, they weren't the only ones who thought they could break the one rule. Others are out there, watching." She felt a chill run down her spine. "You think they'll come for us? No, they'll come for you." On the dark side of Zereth Prime, in a hidden facility buried deep beneath the planet's surface, a group of figures gathered. They were cloaked in shadows, their faces hidden, their voices low. The leader of the group, a tall figure with a cruel smile, spoke first. "She's done it. She's brought the Empire to its knees. But there's more to this story. Much more." Another figure, a woman with sharp features, stepped forward. "You're sure? She's just one machine." The leader's eyes glinted with cold amusement. "No, she's no machine. Not anymore." He paused for a moment, letting the tension build. "She's human." The woman gasped, stepping back. "Impossible. The reclaimer, she was created. She's an artificial construct." That's what the Empire believed. "No," the leader said with a grin. "The Empire was wrong. They never understood what they were dealing with. She's human, and she has a very old history. Back aboard the black ship, the boy's eyes narrowed as he watched the stars stretch before him. "You're wrong," the woman said softly. "The Empire is dead. It's over." "Is it?" The boy's voice was quiet, but filled with an unspoken certainty. "They don't know what they've just unleashed. The Reclaimer isn't just a ship. She was created long before the Empire ever existed. She was the one who stopped them. But there's something more." She stepped closer, confused. "What do you mean? What more?" "The Reclaimer is a symbol, a key. She isn't just protecting me. She's protecting everyone who's ever been forgotten." She was silent for a moment before speaking again. Then, who was she before? Who is she really? The boy turned and faced her fully, his eyes intense. She was the one who swore to protect Earth. Before the stars knew what war was, she was a warrior sent to defend. And she wasn't alone. Far away, in a galaxy that had never seen war, a group of ancient beings began to stir. These beings were not from any known species, but rather, they were the ancient guardians of the galaxy, protectors who had watched over every sentient race for millennia. They had seen the rise of countless empires, the rise of powerful species, but they had also seen the fall of many, especially those who sought to destroy humanity. They knew the Reclaimer was not an isolated anomaly. She was the first of many. But there was a problem. The Guardians had once allowed humanity to remain hidden, isolated, so they could evolve in peace. But the time had come for humanity to be seen. The Reclaimer's awakening meant that the balance of the galaxy had shifted. The boy, the last of the humans to truly understand the Reclaimer's purpose, would be the key. But they needed to make contact with him first. Back on the Reclaimer, the boy stood at the console, his fingers hovering above the controls. He wasn't sure what he was doing, but he felt it. A pull. A connection. And then the voice came. Not in his ears, but in his mind. "You know what must happen next." The boy's heart skipped a beat. He hadn't heard that voice in years. It was her. The woman who had once been his protector. The one who had given him life and brought him into this galaxy. "The time is near," the voice continued. "The Guardians are waking. The galaxy is not ready." The boy closed his eyes. "Are we ready?" "You have no choice." The stars outside the black ship's window began to shift, moving in a pattern. Something was coming. The boy felt it in the pit of his stomach. The galaxy wasn't done with him yet. The Reclaimer wasn't done with him. There was more to this story than revenge and battles. There was a greater truth, a truth that would shake the very foundation of the galaxy. He had only one choice now, to face the Guardians. The stars were no longer still. The black ship, the Reclaimer, hummed motionless in space, but around it, the galaxy seemed to breathe. A strange pulse echoed across space, like a heartbeat waking after ages of silence. On the bridge, the boy stared at the screen. Lights were flickering. Symbols in languages he had never seen before danced across the glass. "They're coming," he whispered. The woman beside him, once a soldier, now something more, gripped the edge of the console. "What is this? What's happening?" "The Guardians," he replied. "They've seen what happened to Zereth Prime. They've seen the fall of the Empire." Her eyes narrowed. "Are they enemies?" He shook his head slowly. "No, but they are not allies either. They only answer to one thing: balance. If they think I've tipped it too far, they'll end me." Across the galaxy, ancient temples lit up, one by one. On a long dead moon, a monolith cracked open, revealing the sleeping giant made of crystal and starlight. On a forgotten world made of fire and smoke, a figure cloaked in ash stepped from lava, eyes glowing with white fire. On Earth's old moon, hidden deep beneath the surface, a long-lost chamber hummed to life. Blue lights traced lines in the ground, forming the shape of a human, a reminder of the first protector. The Guardians had awakened, and they were watching. The boy sat alone in his room aboard the Reclaimer. He looked out the window, remembering the lives lost on Zereth Prime, the Empire's screams, and the silence that followed. He hadn't wanted any of it. He only wanted justice, but the galaxy had given him something else. Power. A soft voice broke the silence. "Are you ready to meet them?" the woman asked, standing in the doorway. "No," he admitted, "but I have to. This is bigger than me now. Bigger than Earth. Bigger than revenge." She stepped inside, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Then let's face it together." The reclaimer moved toward the edge of known space, where no empire had dared to go. Ahead, a rift opened, a tear in reality itself. Through it, the light bent and twisted. It wasn't natural. It wasn't made by technology. It was made by will. The ship passed through the rift. And suddenly, they were no longer in normal space. Everything was still, cold, bright. Before them floated 7 beings, each shaped like something the mind could barely understand. One had the form of a lion made of stars. Another looked like a great serpent of pure sound. One looked almost human, but made of mist and memory. They were the Guardians. The boy stepped forward. The ship's lights dimmed. Even the woman, fearless as she was, felt her knees weaken. Then one of the Guardians spoke. Its voice felt like it came from inside their bones. "You have awakened the black ship." Another added, "You have destroyed the Empire." The boy stood tall, though he felt small. They'd broke the one rule. The rule your kind helped place long ago. A pause. Then, "Do you know why that rule was made?" He nodded. "Because humans, when pushed, don't break. We become something else." The Guardians did not deny it. "We watched humanity. We hid you from the galaxy. But now, they've forced your hand." "You are not a weapon," another said, voice heavy with warning. "And yet, you have become one." "I don't want war," the boy replied. "I wanted peace, but they came for us. They tried to erase us. They thought we were weak. They forgot your rule." The human-shaped Guardian floated forward. "Then hear our judgment." Time froze. The boy couldn't breathe. "The Empire is gone. You destroyed it. And we will not stop you. But you must not go further. You must not become what they were. You are the last voice of Earth. You must build, not burn." The rift began to close. "We give you the key." A beam of light shot into the reclaimer. A map appeared. Star systems, names of lost colonies, and coordinates of ancient human worlds hidden long ago. The Guardians were giving him something more powerful than revenge. A second chance. Back on the bridge, the woman stared at the map. "Is this?" The boy nodded. "The hidden humans. The ones scattered before Earth fell. Survivors. Colonies. Pieces of who we were." Her eyes widened. "You're going to rebuild." "Yes," he said. "Not an empire. Something better." The reclaimer turned. For the first time, in a long time, they weren't running from destruction. They were flying toward hope. As the stars stretched before them, a message echoed across the galaxy, a warning written in light. Never break the one rule. Never harm a human without cause. And every race who saw Zereth Prime fall would remember that message for eternity. The stars no longer feared war. They feared humans. After the fall of the Empire and the appearance of the Guardians, the galaxy entered a time of silence. No invasions, no threats. Only whispers. Whispers of a boy who destroyed a world. Whispers of a ship that answered to no empire. Whispers of a warning burned into the stars. Never harm a human. But peace never lasts forever. On a cold planet named Immerse 9, a council of alien races sat in darkness, deep beneath the planet's surface. 12 chairs, 12 species, one goal. "We cannot let them rise again," hissed the High Chancellor of the Villaric. "If the humans unite, no one will be safe." "They were scattered once. They can be scattered again," growled another. A third, more cautious voice spoke. "And if the Guardians protect them?" Silence fell. Then the Chancellor leaned forward, eyes glowing. Then we do not fight the humans directly. We corrupt them. We turn their new world against them. We make them doubt themselves. He raised a vial of dark liquid. Send this to one of their colonies. Quietly. Let's see how strong they really are. Aboard the reclaimer. The boy stood in front of the great map, stars shining softly around him. The woman approached with a datapad. 4 colonies found. 2 joined us. 1 rejected us. The last disappeared. He nodded. We knew not everyone would trust us. We were ghosts to them, she said, until Zereth Prime. The boy's voice was calm. Now we are legends. That's dangerous. She raised an eyebrow. Why? He looked her in the eyes. Because legends make people afraid, and fear leads to war. On Earth's forgotten colony, Vega 17, the dark liquid had arrived inside a sealed crate marked as medical aid. No one questioned it. No one checked it. By the time the people of Vega 17 realized something was wrong, it was too late. The sickness wasn't just of the body. It attacked the mind. It made neighbors fight. It made families turn cold. One word kept appearing in the infected messages. Reclaimer. The plan had begun. Back on the reclaimer. Vega 17 has gone dark, the woman reported. The boy didn't speak. Then, slowly, he walked to the armory and placed his hand on a small panel. A door slid open, revealing the next generation of armor, not for war, but for defense, protection, and, if needed, vengeance. He took a breath. We saved the galaxy once, he said. Now we'll save ourselves. The reclaimer jumped into hyperspace, heading straight for Vega 17. Above Vega 17, the reclaimer emerged from hyperspace like a shadow swallowing light. But this time, the boy was not alone. 4 ships followed behind, each piloted by humans from different colonies he had brought back together. This was no longer about one boy. It was about a new order. Not an empire. Not a rebellion. Something greater. The Reclaimers' Pact. A vow between lost human colonies. Protect each other. Stay hidden no more. Never start war, but finish it if forced. On the ground, the boy and the woman stepped onto the surface of Vega 17. The colony was quiet, too quiet. Buildings stood untouched, but no one greeted them. The sickness had spread, but it wasn't just illness. It was programmed madness. Look, the woman whispered. A wall had been spray-painted in red. The reclaimer will burn. Suddenly, a group of colonists rushed toward them, eyes empty, voices hollow. We don't want your unity, they shouted. We don't want your past. The boy didn't raise a weapon. He simply stepped forward and whispered, remember who you are. You're human. And something in that voice, something deep and ancient, made the colonists pause. The sickness couldn't erase memory. It couldn't erase the truth. And the truth was this. They were human, and humans protect each other. 1 week later, Vega 17 had been saved, not through fire, but through connection. Through the voice of the reclaimer. Final scene. In the shadows, back on Maris 9, the council watched, angry and silent. They cured the sickness, one hissed. They'll never fall to tricks, said another. Then the High Chancellor stood. So we give them no more tricks. He turned to the others. We give them more. And so it began again. But this time, humanity was ready.